So here we are with the Breakpoint podcast. That ethos of when you step into the short-term discomfort for long-term gain. And today we have a very special guest who is a good friend of mine. I like to say that. And that is Ebony Bridges. And last time I saw Ebony was under very different circumstances. And at that time, she didn't have a world title, but now she has. Woo!
Welcome, Ebony.
Thanks, guys.
Wonderful performance at the weekend. It was wonderful to see you take on a world champion who's defended 6 times and take it off her in the 7th in style. That was one of the bravest, best boxing shows I've seen in a very, very long time.
Yeah, I mean, it was a mad fight, a good fight, great fight for boxing, in particular women's boxing, obviously, because we went to war and we show, as I show time and time again, us women, we can fight, and very special for me. Very special for me to be fighting in Leeds, which is like my adopted city, and to be fighting a long-reigning champion like Cecilia Roman and taking the belt off her. I think that's even sweeter for me of a victory. Amazing. And the new
bantamweight is right. So I just got to say you're sitting up quite tall there, but you're actually a tiny little thing.
My feet aren't touching the ground. My feet aren't touching the ground.
Tell us how tall are you and what's the weight of bantamweight?
Yeah, I'm about 5 foot, and I fight at 118 pounds, which is 53.5 kilos, or I think it's 8 stone 6, something like that. So wherever you're from, you should understand that. You know what? It's not about the size of the fight. It's not about the size of the dog in the fight. It's about the size of the fight and the dog. And I bring the fight, that's for sure. And Cecilia Roman figured that out in the weekend.
Yeah, and so has many other opponents on the way to you getting to this title. I thought it's been an amazing career. You've had 9 professional fights, but we were just talking earlier. You also had 30 amateur fights in 2 years.
Yep.
And that's good going as well, Ebony.
Yeah, I pumped out the amateur fights. I was never really interested in amateur fighting. I'd never even seen an amateur fight before, except for when I fought. I've always been a pro boxing fan. I always wanted to be a professional boxer because that's what I loved. But I just knew that I'd need practice, and you can't, so it's too dangerous to practice as a pro with the small gloves and no headgear. So I thought I'll do the amateurs and pump them out. I had 20 out of the 30 fights. I had 26 wins, only 4 losses, and won a lot of titles and stuff like that, Golden Gloves and all that. And then it was time for me to take that silly headgear off, I call it, and then put the little gloves on and beat people up. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to knock people out and hurt people. So, felt good to turn pro.
Yeah, you're amazing. And obviously I've been watching the show. We have a little clip here as well with the last time Ollie and you hung out together. It was quite different from what we're doing right now.
It is.
Right?
You know what? I think it's really important at this stage that we mention that, the show SAS Who Dares Wins was obviously really popular over here in the UK until I got my promotion. So now, obviously, we're over in Australia doing SAS Who Dares, not Who Dares Wins, sorry, apologies, SAS Australia, which has been phenomenal. And the last time I met Ebony, let's have a look.
So we'll get this lined up. Just it should just play at the button.
Sit. Relax. How do you think you handle failure? Oi, don't start fucking giggling.
Before we get through it, right? Like, what are you feeling right now watching that and remembering the black bag being taken off your head and someone saying to you, you can't handle failure?
Yeah, I let's looking back because I know that I get emotional and I'm not like an emotional person. And this show, it was so weird. Like, it was so weird that like I got so emotional. I think I tend to like just block out my emotions and I just stay busy. And I just don't deal with things, and because I'm always so busy and I'm just always distracted by things. So, but I think I couldn't do that in this show. Like, I had to sit in my own thoughts. Like, it was
That's the beauty.
So I was,
That's the beauty of the show, the beauty of the process, and that's why I love doing the celebrity version, because people have a perception of these people before they go on the show. The media paints a picture of the person. You paint a picture of the person on your social media, and people have some kind of idea of the character of you.
Yeah,
and then you go on to that show, and you see a different person, and this is very typical of special forces selection for real, because all of a sudden your ego's gone. You can't design the perfect outcome so you look good. Your thoughts, feelings, actions, reactions become organic. They become raw. And really, let's face it, the last time that was apparent was between the ages of 0 and 6 years old, when you didn't have a conscience. You know what I mean? And you didn't have the power of thought and stuff like that. So it's a really hard look at you, and that's why people do get emotional, because you are you're actually looking at yourself. You do every answer, everything is raw, it's organic. So, can you relate to that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like those first few days was really tough for me, because I literally had to deal with my thoughts, and usually I'll just like go smash things, or go get on my phone, or go talk to someone about something else, or go work on something that I need to do to distract myself from thinking, things, I suppose. But on the show, like if I didn't do something right or as good as I wanted to do it, then I'd be sitting there for like 2 hours, like, mate, like, and just dwelling on it, because there's nothing else for me to think about except for what I just did, and then I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? And then it was like I can't even go and do it again to rectify it. Like to prove to myself that I actually can do it, because that's usually what it's like. Like for me with failure, like you're learning how to not do something. Like when you fail, you go, okay, well, you know what? Let's not do it like that next time. It's just one way of learning how not to do something. But the problem is there was no next time. So that made it really hard for me, because I'm okay with failing if I can keep trying and get better at it. But when I don't, I felt like when I don't have the chance to do that, it was really hard for me, because I was just sitting in that feeling of just being not
this
right.
is the end.
That was,
I can really, you know what? I can remember that on selection, because I was you were actually thinking, if only I could do it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You do, don't you? Think, because I know I'd do it and smash it. But you just, it's taken away from you.
Exactly, yeah. And like you were saying on the show, especially in the real world, in the real army force, you only have one go. Like, let's go do that again. Let's go try and kick that door down again. Let's put it all back in. Let's try again. Like, you can't, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it was really interesting. But,
should we continue?
Yeah, continue.
Take you back down memory lane.
Don't start fucking giggling in here, right? Let's cut that shit out, because that winds us the fuck up.
Sorry. I'm just maybe laughing at myself. Yeah.
Well, don't.
Okay. Yeah, I fucking don't like it.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah. I'll have a bad training session and I'll cry and I'll be so hard on myself. Like, Ebony is like, chill out. Like, it's not that bad. Like, you're so hard on yourself. You weren't that bad. I'm like, nah, because I'm not perfect. And I think that's one of my biggest downfalls. I just don't give myself leeway at all.
This course is about how people handle failure. That is such an important characteristic in our role in our job. Because if you can't bounce back from failure, you're of no use to anyone.
Why do you think you're failing so much on this course?
Like, it's like you tell me something and I fucking think I understand it, and then I turn and then it's like,
Gone.
Like, what the fuck? Like, it fucking frustrates me, man. Because
it's because your head's not in the game.
My heart fucking ears, like I'm trying.
Number one.
Like I'm trying
listen,
so hard.
because you don't listen. Because your head's everywhere. Listen to simple instruction. Listen to what we're telling. Because the moment we're talking, look, you want to talk now. You want to think, because your mind is on fucking overload. You almost want to jump in, say something, do something, and they're all distractions. Number one. Yeah, you're hindering yourself. Look, you're distracted now because you're hindering yourself because you're fucking beating yourself up. Where's that come from? Why are you so hard on yourself? Tell me that. Why are you so hard on yourself?
I'm a perfectionist, like, because I just want to fucking do good.
Listen, number one, let me tell you one thing right now. There's no such thing as a perfectionist. So get that word out of your fucking head.
Yeah, but I should be able to do this shit. Like, that's the thing, like, I should be able to...
You can do it. You're more than capable.
I'm clearly not. If I was, I'd be able to do it. If I was, I could do it. Because I'm trying, man. Like, I'm fucking trying. But I still can't do it.
We know you're trying.
So it's not
and what
working.
the chief instructor has just been saying to you is you are sabotaging yourself.
Why are you hard on yourself? Why are you so hard on yourself?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Ebony, have you found that answer yet? Why do you sabotage yourself? That was what the main question was. Why do you sabotage yourself? We all do it, right?
Yeah.
I sabotage myself.
Self-critical, overcritical.
Self-critical.
Oh yeah,
overcritical.
bad. Like, do you know, when I started training with Mark just recently, so my trainers know me a little bit about my old trainer, but Mark was new to the Ebony, Bridges.
Yeah.
And I was the same. I would do a training session, a sparring session, and he would be, it was really good. And I'd be like, but what about this? What about that? What about that? Nah, it was shit. I'm shit. And he's like, you know what? I was actually really pleased. But now you've just gone and fucked it. Because now you've just made it bad and negative. And I was feeling really good and happy, but now I'm not. Because you've just gone to bring it down and you're so down and so, you know, on myself.
He was thinking it was more about him, my experience, than you? Because it sounds, I'm a boxing coach, right, as you know, and I'm that guy that tells you your negatives when you think you've got positives. You got to walk out and I'm saying, you know what, your heel was
I don't think you would do that with me, because I would tell you about 100 negatives before. You would be scraping for positives to try and show me positivity, because I will literally point out 10, 15 negatives that you'll feel like you need to point out a positive, because like it's just so much, it's so intense.
So you're so self-critical.
So self-critical.
Yeah.
And it does, it probably kills the mood, because I'm just like, nah, I refuse to be good. I'm like, no, that was shit. And they're like, no, it was good. And we did this, and I don't care about that. What about all these other 50,000 things that I did really shit? And he's like, that's actually not that bad. And he goes, wait till you watch it. You know, I'll go watch it, and I'll be like, Mark, okay, I wasn't that bad. I was like, you're right, you know, but it's just how I am, you know what I mean?
So how, from this point, from that show, that show we've just been watching, to now being the world champion, right? How self-critical have you changed from that? Would you say that was monkey chatter talk, bringing you down, making sure you're the perfectionist? You've seen it there now. I'm sure you've watched that show. Because now
I'm gonna be honest. No, honestly, like, yes and no. When I'm starting out and I'm within, like, obviously my training at the beginning of my camp, I was still very critical of myself, and I wasn't as fit, and I wasn't climbing. But as it came close to my fight, obviously everything comes and peaks at the right time. I start feeling good. I start feeling sharp. Everything's good, and then I get extremely confident. And there was absolutely no doubt in my mind that I was going to be a world champion. And because there was absolutely no doubt, because of all the hard work that I did, because I worked through all those negatives. I know it's a weird process. Like I say to people, you know what I got to do? I got to go through this self-doubt process where I'm self-doubting and I'm pointing out all the negatives and I'm working on all the bad things just to get them all out of the way. So then when it means it, when I need it, yeah, it's all done. I've already dealt with it. I've already done all the self-doubt. I've already done all the negative talk that has gone out of my system, and I've fixed it and I'm good. That's kind of how I feel it is every single time for me, because I go through this process every single time. Do you know what I mean? Where I got to go, no, I can't do this, I can't do that, but can I do this, and they're doing this, and maybe that she could get this, and this could happen. And
so you think throwing all your negatives on the table
at the beginning,
and then going through them one by one, making them positives. Them all out. By the time you get to the end of the training camp, when you're on fight week or the week before it, you're like, there's nothing left.
There's no doubt, there's no negativity, because I've already dealt with it at the beginning of camp.
Analysed it at the beginning.
Yeah, like hardcore. And I don't know, that's just the process I go through every single time, it seems to be. And like I said, like, you know, I came to the end of this camp last 3 or 4 weeks of my camp. You know, there was absolutely not even one thought of me not winning that title, because I know I put all the work in, all mental, physical, everything. I'd done everything right, and I was feeling good. And there was just no way that I was going to lose that fight. Like, no way. Like, and it's proved. No matter what she bring, there was no way I was going to lose that fight.
You said that right after the fight in your interviews.
You listen to my interviews going into the fight, that fight week interviews. Yeah. Everyone couldn't believe how confident I was. Like, she's so confident, because I truly believed it, you know. And you got to truly believe that and manifest it. And I just knew. You know what I mean? I was just so confident, and it's a process to get to me there. But when I'm confident, I'm fucking confident, because it takes me a long time to feel confident. It takes me a long time to really believe in myself and believe that everything's good. But when I do, you can't take it away from me, because I've gone through so much, not self-hate, but like negativity, so much doubt, that I'm definitely the kind of person that will point out 10 bad things before there's one good thing. So if I come out of a spa or a training session, I'm like, you know what, I did that pretty good. Oh yeah, I feel really good today, and I did that really good. Then I fucking did. Yeah, it's no bullshit. It's not. I did, because I know that if there was something bad, that I would point it out. But the way that I can flip that, so when I go into a fight, going, I've done all this and this, like, I truly believe it, because if there was something that I wasn't confident about, then I would know, because that's just I'm overly critical. you know. So
how would this fight compare then to the last world title fight you went for and you didn't come out? I thought you won that fight, but
I thought I won the fight
you
too.
didn't come out fucking victorious.
Yeah.
So from going in and coming out of that negative scenario, how did you bounce back into obviously climbing back up and you had a couple of fights in between right before you
yeah. I mean, that fight, you know, there was a lot of things behind that fight. I had 4 weeks notice for the Shannon fight. I had to go through 3 different time zones, 3 different countries, 2 different trainers. My corner was a mess as well. You know, I had one eye for 4 rounds, you know, head-butted, and I still thought I won the fight, you know, and I came out of that fight thinking, I just thought, you know what, I grabbed the opportunity with both my hands when Eddie gave me a call and said, do you want to take the fight on short notice? And I thought I proved myself, my fight, how I can fight, my heart, and I thought I fought well, and I like I said, I still thought I won. Even though I didn't win the belt, I won a lot more from that fight. I won more than... Shannon, no one was even talking about Shannon Courtenay. Every time Eddie got interviewed, Eddie had to say, let's not forget Shannon Courtenay won that belt. Let's not forget Shannon Courtenay's the champion, because everyone's just like, Ebony, because everyone wanted to know about the blonde bomber. So I won from that fight, and even though I didn't get the belt, there was no negative for me around that fight, and I believe everything happens for a reason. I wasn't meant to win that fight. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't meant to win it, because I was meant to have my first world champion against a long reigning champion in front of a huge fan base, 15,000 people in Leeds, not behind closed doors, you know, with Shannon. And I totally believe that. And so I never, when I lose or if anything ever bad happens to me, I always know that it's for a reason. And there's always something better come of it. I was supposed to have a world title fight against Rachel Ball in November before that fight. And 2 weeks out of the fight, I was in Philadelphia, training camp was perfect. 2 weeks out, I popped my AC joint, so I couldn't fight. I was gutted, obviously. Oh my God, first world title fight opportunity. Now I'm injured, I can't fight. I had to go back to Australia, sit in quarantine by myself, think about, fuck, I'm sitting here in quarantine, no belt, no fight, nothing, just an injury. And I was gutted because I couldn't wait to get to the UK. But I was like, you know what? It wasn't meant to be. You know why it wasn't meant to be? Because my introduction to the UK was meant to be that Shannon Courtenay fight, that hype and that build up, and everyone needed to see that as the first introduction of the blonde bomber, you know, and it happened for a reason, just like this. So I believe that in life. I've had a lot of things happen to me, a lot of bad things, and it's all always been for a reason, and it's all made me who I am now and got me to this point in life.
I love your positive attitude. You mentioned a minute ago manifest. You manifest it. You're the same, Ollie. You talk the same way. You manifest things. You say if you can't see it.
If you can see it in your head.
If you can see it in your head,
you can hold it in your
end
head.
up holding
Well, you know, I just say to people, and I don't know if I can call it manifestation, but I literally, everything I say I'm going to do, I fucking do it. I do it. Everything I say I'm going to do, I do it. So if I say I'm going to do it, it's going to happen. So I always believe in myself because it's happened over and over again my whole life. You know, whenever I started setting goals and started doing shit with my life, I've achieved everything I said I was going to do. Everything. No matter how, it might have taken a bit longer, might have been a bit of a fucking squiggly road, might have been a few detours, but I still did it. And it's always got done. So whenever I say I'm going to do something, I know it's going to happen. Yeah. So when I said I'm going to be a world champion, I knew it was going to happen. No matter what, I was going to be a world champion. I said that I want to fight in the UK. When I first turned professional, I said I want to fight in America. And, you know, no one does that in Australia. Like, it's really hard to get out of Australia. A year later, I had my USA debut. I made it happen. And I snapped my ankle in my first professional fight. Yeah. So I fought with a snapped ankle, my first professional fight. I was out for 8 months. 4 months after I was recovered from that, I was out fighting in America. You know what I mean? Then after that, I said, I want to fight in the UK. So what did I do? I got myself promoting myself, got myself seen and known in the UK, built up a UK fan base. So Eddie had to get me over because everyone was begging him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Then I fought in the UK. You know, everything I say I'm going to do, everything, even my degrees. You know, I wanted to quit my master's degree that many times. My mum told me to quit. I was going through hell. It was so hard, you know. But I said, no, I don't start something, I don't finish it. I want to be. Well,
tell us, because not everybody who's watching this will understand how academic you are.
Yeah.
Right?
It was a fucking shock to me.
Fuck off. Look, if you want to like calculus, then no.
No, but really seriously, right? It blows me away. I did a bit of research. We've been talking about you, obviously, since when you were coming down, and we did a lot of research. And I was like, holy fuck, man, did you know that she's got a master's degree in mathematics? She's a mathematics teacher. He was like, yeah, and he referred to the show. Yeah. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
And you work with kids in the sporting world as well, right? So, and you work with a lot of Aboriginal kids as well. I've lived in Australia for a long time. I lived with the Aboriginals for a good year up in Far North Queensland. So
and
that was back in the 90s, and it was rough as fuck.
Yeah.
I've been back since. and they are doing really well.
Amazing, yep.
And the white fellas are not doing so well. It's like turned itself on its ass.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that for a second, because not many people will understand how intelligent you are. Tell us a bit about your academia.
Look, academia doesn't make you smart, but I'm very I'm academically smart and obviously street and socially smart. But with my degrees, I started my degrees a bit later, so in my mid-20s. When I left school, I was a mechanic. I got a trade in mechanics, so I did that for 4 years, and I was like, yeah.
So you're also a mechanic.
Yeah, I got a trade in mechanics. Did my apprenticeship in mechanics.
Well done.
Yeah, and then I was like, okay, well, I kind of don't really feel like, earning $500 a week, 40-hour weeks, because that's what it was back then. Yeah. But yeah, so then I didn't get, so because I wanted to be a mechanic, I didn't need to go to university, so I didn't do my high school certificate that I needed to do to get into university straight from school. Mm-hmm. But I could go as a mature age student, and so anyways, I went as a mature age student and did that. And my undergrad and all that was kind of okay. Like that was all maths, and I enjoyed that. But then when I went to my master's degree was a master's in teaching mathematics, and you have to learn how to read and write. And I'm not good at reading or writing or talking shit. So, and that's what it is. It's a lot of like just writing, not like a lot of stuff. And it was actually really, really hard for me, my master's degree, because I'm good at math, but I'm not good at all that other stuff. So my first semester of my master's degree, I failed 2 units, and they said to me that I needed to go and do, courses on how to write, because my essays were just all over the place. And I was like, man, I don't even have time for like my master's degree. I'm working 3 jobs. I'm training twice a day because I was in my sport then. And I just thought, like, how am I going to do this, right? Anyways, luckily my boyfriend's kind of pretty smart, so he kind of helped me, did a lot of like proofreading with me and taught me on the go. So I'd write my essays, and then he would spend at the beginning like 2 hours with me just going, what are you saying? And why are you repeating yourself? And what about this? But it was like learning on the job, right? Because it was my own stuff. And also just learning how to read and read to comprehend, because I never used to comprehend what I was reading. I just read it and go, oh, what the fuck did I just read? And I have to read it again and again. Sometimes I'd read the same page like 3 times, and I'd end up reading so much and it's just not going in my head. So I learned how to kind of study like highlights, make notes and stuff. But the problem is it would take me weeks to do my assignments. But
well, hold on, I'm going to jump in there, because I'm very much the same, and I'm definitely a kinesthetic learner. I can see things and watch it, and I'm good. I can go do that. When it comes to writing, I'm an author. I've written a couple of books, and I've written a novel. We've not got them published yet, but it really took me a long time to get my skills in reading and writing up to scratch too. Because I would, like you, I would read a book, or I'd read a page of a book, and I'd be none the wiser of what happened. Yeah. When people would be talking about it too, and I'd be like, I had to read 3 or 4 times to get that. How did you improve that? Because I've never really learned to improve that. I'm just I'll keep on trying. Keep on trying. How did you improve that so you could comprehend what you're reading? That's a really, I know I'm not the only one out there who has this problem, and clearly you have too. Yeah. How do you get to that point where you can comprehend what you're reading?
I had about 5 different coloured highlighters, and I'd have to highlight like every second sentence and then write notes next to it. So it took me a very long time. Like, people would look at my work and go, oh my God, like, what the hell am I highlighting everything and like all these notes and stuff? And it was just how I had to learn, where people in my class would be like, oh, they just literally skim read it, and then I can write a whole bunch of bullshit. But I can't, because I can't write a bunch of bullshit and stuff I don't understand. I have to understand it so much so I can actually write about it. Mm-hmm. And my writing was also an issue because I speak different languages. I speak 3 different languages. So when I would write something, and for me it sounded right, like it was written the right way around, but it might sound right because in another language it kind of sounds right when it's translated. Like it was hard. There was a lot of things to overcome. But anyways, long story short, I failed my two units in my first semester, and then after that I obviously applied myself because I'm just an overachiever, and I just pretty much never slept because I was working and training and everything, but I also wanted to do uni and be good at it, and I ended up getting high distinctions in pretty much everything, and I ended up getting a Dean's Merit Award, which means I graduated the top 10% of my cohort with high distinctions. And for me, that's a story I told my students, because I fucking hate reading. I haven't read a book since. I've never read a book in my life.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah, no, so I don't read books.
Do you read now and comprehend?
No, never. No, I'll listen to audiobooks, but I'll never read. Like, I hate it. I hate reading. I just don't have the patience for it. I don't have the attention for it. So yeah, I never read before. And then I haven't read since, but I had to obviously while I was doing that, and I literally like had so much pages of stuff. Like I was like, burn all of this. Like I don't want to look at it ever again. I was really like quite traumatized from it all, but it was all worth it when I graduated at the top of my class, or top of my whole cohort, and it just showed that I'm the kind of person that obviously I could say I don't read, I don't write. And then to be able to turn it around like that, that's because I applied myself and I just did what I had to do. And I told my students in classroom with math, I'm like, it's not that you can't do maths and you're not good at maths, or you're just not a math person. It's like you're just not willing, you're not open to learning, you're not opening to be better because you can. Because I was the same. I was like, I can't read, can't write, like I can't do it. I'm just not a reader or a writer. But I happened to be able to completely change that when I wanted to apply myself. You know what I mean? And that's where I believe that no matter what, if you apply yourself and push yourself, then you can do it. It might take longer than others, which it did. Some people do an assignment in 3 days, and it would take me 2 weeks just to decipher all the references and all the papers that I've done. Then to try and write would take me another week. You know what I mean?
I think this is a great lesson for kids listening in or watching when they get a chance, because it's overwhelming for so many kids because they just don't have the ability to put their brain or their mind on a certain subject for a period of an hour. Yeah. Because there might be things happening in their outside world, or a bully sitting over there, or someone's fucking nipping them or something like that. They just can't focus.
Yeah, of course.
And some of us, like, academically have to put a little bit more time in to get to our goals, where just people slide through it. My wife, Lisa, man, she can speed read, so she'll read a book in a day. Yeah. And it takes me 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
And it's like, when I'll read it and I'm going through...
I'll tell you what, though, I think it's a lot of this, and you'll agree, I'm sure, I think we'll all agree that the fact is when you've got a why, the how becomes easy. Exactly, If you haven't got a why, then you're going to fucking struggle all the time, or not even possibly...
Do you mean why do you want to achieve it?
What's your why? Why are you doing it? It's like 100%. The same for you. If you've got a why are you doing a maths degree? Why are you doing it? You must have had a why you doing it.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
With the boxing, your why's... Yeah.
So why jump in on it? You're right, I love it. But why? Why were you doing your maths? Masters?
Because I wanted to go in classrooms and teach students the mindset to be successful. And I knew that I had something to offer. Because when I was younger, I didn't have that. And I wish I had a teacher or someone that could, although I'm very happy with who I've turned out to be, and I wouldn't have been if it wasn't for my younger years, that I wouldn't be this person. But I just think that I feel like I can relate to a lot of the kids, and especially the first few schools that I taught in, this was like a really underprivileged Aboriginal schools.
And what sort of year are they?
Yeah, year 7 to 12, so 12 years old to 18.
Right.
But just wanting kids to believe in themselves, man, people to believe in themselves, and just really believe. If you just fucking believe in yourself and you put in the work and you try, that it's possible, and it doesn't matter what everyone else thinks, what your family thinks, who your family are, who your friends are. You can literally change your life and change your mindset. And I see it all the time in the classroom because my kids love learning off me because of the mindset and because in my classroom, I teach them to want to learn. The key is, it doesn't even matter about the maths. They need to first be receptive and open to learning, and open and willing, and to believe that they can learn, and then that they want to. Because if they don't believe that they can learn, and if they're not open to learning and improving and wanting to be better, they're never going to try, and they're not going to learn because they don't want to. But if you kind of get that mindset into them of, if you try and do this with this, then it's going to go into other parts of your life. The school that I'm at now, that I've reached, my last school, it's a sports selective school, so a lot of the students are sports kids. They're there for, they're on scholarships for sport. And I can relate math and the learning of math and mindset that you need to learn maths to the same as sport. And I say to these kids all the time, I'm like, for example, algebra, right? They'll go, Miss, we can't do it. They're not allowed. That's a banned word in my classroom as well. They're not allowed to say you can't. Anyways, and I'm like, okay, so when you go and you play in football and you go to kick a goal and you miss, you go, that's it, I'm never kicking a soccer ball again. Football, I'm never going to do it. I'm shit. Because you missed once, or do you keep practicing, keep trying? The same with algebra, same with all kinds of maths. You got to keep practicing. It's a skill. The more you practice, the better you're going to get, And if you try and you believe, then you're going to get better. You are. And I see it over and over, and they do it because I make them believe that, just like sport, if you practice and you try, you do get better, and they do. Because they're open to it and they believe it, And I'll say to them, for example, they might get a shit mark in a test at the beginning of the year. They're like, oh, we're already failing anyway. I'm like, okay, cool. So when you go out and you're playing, rugby, and you're down in the first 10 minutes or the first half, you're going to go out and you're just going to give up for the second half? I go, because you know what? If that's who you are, then that's a shit sports person, and all your teammates are going to think you're shit. And that's not the mindset to have on the field, and it's not the mindset to have in your life. Just because you're failing the first bit doesn't mean that that's it. Like, you got to give up on the rest of your life, or on the rest of your schooling, or on the rest of the class, or whatever. You know what I mean? And it's good that I can relate to the kids with the sport, and that's obviously because I come from a sporting background as well. But yeah, I make them believe in myself. Like, if I showed you, I'll show you after. But yeah, my classroom rules. You know what I mean? But it's all in there. Like, they're not allowed to say I can't, I'm dumb, it's too hard. They've got to come back and write affirmations if they do. And they all dob in each other. Oh, he said that he can't do his dumb. Okay, I'll see you at lunchtime, mate. You're going to start talking about how good you are. You know what I mean? They hate it. They think it's so lame. And so because they think it's so lame, they won't do it. Yeah. Because I make them do it. And then it says, like, I'll say, believe in yourself because I believe in you. Because I do. I believe in everyone. Because I really, truly believe that everyone is possible, is capable. You know what I mean?
So yeah. You're why, like, I want to stick on the why.
Sorry, I go on a fucking tangent. Like, I talk so much.
Ebony,
don't worry about that.
This is your podcast.
Lecturer.
All years, when you see what you've ever seen falling asleep, but we're fully into it, and I'm going to stick with that.
So my teaching is, like, I'm more passionate about teaching than probably boxing. Like, it's on par.
I can tell.
Like, I can tell.
Yeah. You're displaying your passion for teaching math that I have for teaching boxing. I can understand that. I can relate angles and maths and division and multiplications all in boxing. If you're a philosopher, I can bring it to boxing. If you're a scientist, I can bring it to boxing. If you're an engineer, I can bring it to boxing. I can bring boxing. Whatever sport you're doing, I can bring it to boxing. I love it. And I can talk about it all day, but it's not my podcast. It's your podcast, and we can do this anytime we want. But I want to stick to that why. So your why then to become to get a master's degree so you can become a teacher at this level, not just a high school teacher was with a bachelor's. I'm sure there'd be plenty of jobs like that. You went one step ahead and you became a master's. Your why was so you could help develop these kids. I would imagine it's not just maths, but the way you're talking, you're developing these kids maths holistically.
Yeah, it's not about maths at all. I just use math as a gateway into mindset, into life skills, you know, and to that what you need in life. What you need in life is you need to have no quit, you need to have belief, and you need to try. No matter what job you're doing, no matter what you do, you should try and be your very best. That's what I put into those guys.
While you've just mentioned that, let's talk about that, because how important do you think winning your fight, how important do you think mindset was? Oh,
extremely important. Because if I went into my fight like I was at the beginning of camp when I had a lot of doubts, it wouldn't have been the same. And I've had fights before, fighting lesser opponents, where I've not been I've had a little bit of doubt, I've not been as confident, you know what I mean? And I think it definitely plays a role. Definitely. You know, with your fitness, just with everything you go in there, you know, you're not second guessing yourself. So, really important.
Well, you've talked so many points, you know, about you're talking our language basically, because you know it's like the visualization, manifestation, belief. You can't do anything without belief.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? Because once you do have belief, I mean, people aren't aware of this, but you have a conscious mind, a subconscious mind. Whatever you impress upon the subconscious has to come out as action. That then leads to your results. So repetition is the first law of success. So the more you repeat that mental language to yourself, you know, I'm going to win, I'm going to do. And I remember us having this conversation on Instagram. You know, we were chatting. You say, "I need this," and I was like, "Forget the need. Forget the need." It's not a need. A need is desperate. What we need to do is, you know, visualize. You know, it was a language you understood. It was like, Ebony, just visualize yourself with that belt. You've won the fight. You know, how does that feel? Because we are drawn by image. That's just the way we are as humans. But, and people get lost in that. You know, for me, I think the military in general, and special forces, I was drawn by the image. I thought it would look cool for everyone else. And I thought it was my ego, really, at the end of the day. I got there and I wasn't that enamored by it. I was like disappointed, to be quite honest. And the problem was I wasn't chasing the feeling. You know what I mean? It's the feeling that's so important. We're drawn by the image, but it's got to feel. And if you want something bad enough, you have got to engage the feeling of what it feels like to actually already have won it. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between a real situation and something you're just impressing upon it. So it will come as long as you believe in yourself. And you speak that language.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, I'm definitely a results person. So for me to really start believing in myself, I do need to see the results. That's one thing. I'm not. You would have seen it on the SAS show. It was like until I started actually seeing success, it was very hard for me to believe it. Because I'm like, well, fucking. I mean, like, it's all good saying it and believing it, which I was, but it wasn't. Like, I wasn't working. I'm like sitting there going, yeah, you can do it, and then fucking couldn't. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's only so much you can take of that.
On the show,
yeah, on the show.
It's designed for that, though.
Yeah,
right?
I know. But then once I started doing the physical stuff, which I was good at, and I started like being able to use my mind, certain things like, you know, like pepper spray. Like I love that shit. I'd do that all over again. Like I love being able to block out the pain and things that I'm strong at, because I was like, okay, well, I can do this, and then that starts putting a bit more positivity in me. Like my camp, for example. Being in camp, you're not like, you know, you're coming out of camp, you're a bit heavier, a bit slower, you know, like I'm with a new trainer, you know, I'm not understanding, you know, so it was a lot of doubt at the start, but then once it all starts coming together and I start seeing little bits of success, just that little bit of like positive and result, that then starts the thing. Do you know?
I'm fascinated because I'm right in the moment with you, and I'm just conscious that people are listening, especially young boxers, women boxers, lady boxers, girl boxers, the lads, and everyone else who's out there in the world boxing training, right? Is you've just went from having one set of trainers for a long time, I'd imagine, in Sydney, right? And then you come over here and you've gone to now Tibbs sort of gym, who are legends in the sport. For guys my age, you know, I'll be 50 in June, so we all know each other from that era, right? And what would be the difference between one trainer to the next? Do you mean, because you've obviously, your mind seems to, I'll take that back. Your performance last weekend was phenomenal, and by me watching you, I've been a fan since I saw you get to the UK, and I've looked back in your fights that I could see you were televised on YouTube, but you just looked like a different boxer. You were like, there were little lean backs, there was a little movement in your head, you were going in, you were getting inside, you were banging up in the body, you were coming out to the head. There was just loads of, I mean, you've also done that, but there was just an edge. Something was different. I've just felt that you were definitely in your zone, you know, but you were missing punches at times just with a couple of millimetres and being focused, and you looked like you were aware of what was going on, and you were backing on it because you'd practiced that over and over. Can you tell us a little bit about how that skill set improved and how that made you feel as a boxer?
Yeah, look, to be fair, like if you watch like the Shannon Courtney fight, my defense is pretty good. I think I'm very good at parrying. I'm very good at sleeping. That's what I do. So I feel like my defense has always been pretty good. You know, with that fight, what it was a happy camp. You know, you said I've had different trainers and stuff. So usually most fights, I have a trainer in Australia. Then from Australia, I go to Philadelphia. So I finish off my camps in Philly. So I'll do half my camp in Australia. Then I finish off my half a camp with the trainers in Philadelphia, adjusting to time zones. It's not a very positive environment. It's not a good environment for me in Philadelphia. It's like a ghetto. I literally live with my trainers, my managers. I see them 24/7. I have no support there. I have no sponsors. I have no friends. I have no family. I just have these two people that I see 24/7. And that's great, but you know, you need your own space sometimes, you know what I mean? And that's for months. Sometimes when I got stuck last year in COVID, I was stuck in Philadelphia for like 4 months. Then I had my fight, Beck Connolly, great, I knocked her out. But then I got stuck in America, in the UK. Couldn't go back to America. So then I couldn't even train with my Philadelphian trainers. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Well, I can't say no to a fight. I've got to fight in 4 weeks. So then I had to overcome adversity again and find a trainer here that I'd never trained with. So I trained with Enzo Macronelli, who's a friend. But then again, I had 4 weeks to adjust to a new trainer in a new area, try and settle in there. Do you know what I mean? And then I was training with him, but then he wasn't in my corner. The Philadelphia guys came over and trained me in my corner. So it was just all scattered. It's just been all scattered. Yeah. There's been injuries, constant injuries in my camps. You know, the Beck fight, I went in with a torn lat. I hadn't even thrown my left hand for 3 weeks leading into that fight. It wasn't until 2 days before, it was the first time I threw my left hand. Gangolf, I broke my hand in the second round. Do you know what I mean? So it's just so much adversity. Shannon Courtney, blind eye. You know, there's just so much adversity. This was the first camp where I was settled. I came into the country. I stayed in the same country for, you know, it was 9 weeks. I was settled at the same trainer. I had no injuries. Obviously the world-class trainer like Mark. We had our differences at first because I couldn't understand his Cockney and I couldn't understand it. It was so different, his language, to what I was used to. But once I understood him and got to understanding him, and we just gelled really well. But it did take some time to get there. It was about a couple of weeks that we were like butting heads, like, I don't know what you're saying, I don't know what you mean, blah, blah, blah. But we all worked through it. And then, you know, a little bit of a different style of training, not overtraining. Mm-hmm. I swear, I swear it was I said to him, I hope I win this fight, because if I don't win this fight, I'm going to say I should have trained more, because I really felt like this is like half the training that I'm used to. But he kept saying to me, no, you know, gotta leave it. You can't leave it in the gym, Eb. Like, you can't train that hard. Like, you know, because I'm like, I want to do this, I want to do that, blah, 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 you know. And, so there was that. And then just positive, you know, I love the environment there with the boys, you know, got Johnny Fisher and Hedges and, you know, Jimmy and Mark. It's just, and the UK for me with all my sponsors, and I've got friends here. It's like support. I've got a family, got like a really good support net here. So I was just happy, you know, and I trusted Mark. And, so I think that's what it was, you know. It was just, it's so many things that go into a good performance, you know, and to be fair, when I was warming up, I pulled my back. I was like, you can't, I couldn't believe it. I was saying I've had a most perfect camp, and then I couldn't even like bend or like twist with my back. I couldn't believe it. But then I went into the ring and it went away. Like, not went away, but you know, you just block it out. But I just couldn't believe it. I was like, I've had the perfect camp, and now I've just and it's bad now. But it's just it's crazy. So I think it was like everything, obviously. And with the boxing, it was just trusting him about being able to take that step back. And then in the fight, Roman fought my fight. That's my bread and butter. You know, Mark didn't have to teach me how to fight in the pocket. That's how I fight. Yeah. Mark had to teach me how to take a step back when needed, box when I need to. You know, use my jab, which I don't usually use my jab because I like to just sit in the pocket and trade. And Roman fought the wrong fight. Roman came in, she fought my fight. You know, if she was going backwards a bit and trying to box me like everyone else does, it might have been a little bit harder for me, but I was still prepared for that and I still would have won. But she literally, I was in my element because that's what I do. That's what comes natural to me, that Mexican style inside fighting. So I was just flowing, man. I was so relaxed because it was just, that's my natural fight. That's my natural fight style. And then, you know, obviously add my jab to that, which Mark, we worked on a lot. As you can see, my hand's busted. I did have a busted hand for like 4 months, so I couldn't even use my right hand. So like I said, everything happens for a reason. I was very upset that I broke my hand, but now I've got a great jab and a great left hand, which I didn't have. So yeah, it's everything just worked out perfectly.
All right, so let's change it over. Let's go to you, Ollie, and just start off with where your head's at.
Well, first of all, I think we should cover for the people looking in your performance on SAS Who Dares Wins. I'm going to repeat that. What I'd like to talk about is your performance on SAS Australia. Yeah. So, how do you think you did? Do you think, and we can talk honestly now because we're friends. Do you think you were dealt with fairly? Did you enjoy the whole experience? You know, when it came to an end for you, let's just talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I knew I wasn't going to quit. But I didn't expect to get culled. Only because there was 2 other people in there talking about quitting quitting. And I'm like, why are they going to cull me when you got 2 people here that are just waiting to quit, are trying to quit? They've already tried to quit. You know what I mean? And I just knew they would, and I'm not, you know, so why don't you get rid of the guys that want to quit? You know what I mean? Instead of getting rid of the person that won't quit. That was the only thing that bothered me. But at the same time, when I thought about the reason behind it, like, I knew that I didn't have it all, if that made sense. Like, I knew I was kind of just the brute and brawn. I wasn't really the thinker. And I knew that to get to the end and make selection, you need to have all of that anyways. So it wasn't too much of a surprise. I think it was just more like, well, there's other people that like don't actually, like, they're like just looking for an excuse to get out, like, literally. You know what I mean? They were just waiting for an excuse, like, and then they left just, like, you know, people left just after me, so it was just like,
yeah, that's the problem with that, is that
dorm,
dorm room chat, which we don't get there. We're not spying on you 24/7. We got other things to do. We want to get the fuck away from you, to be quite honest. No, but the thing is,
I think that was the only thing there where I was like, but at the same time, I seen who like Rihanna and Darius who won, and I was like, well, that makes sense because they were. But then then I was like, oh, I don't know, like, you know, it is what it is. I thought that I knew that I had really strengths in a lot of things. I knew all the physical stuff and just that determination and the mindset and the no quit thing, that I could push through pain and I can push through all that kind of stuff. I knew I had all that, but I did really struggle, like I said, with the instructions and like just listening.
I mean, for me, looking at you, I just thought that you were trying a little bit too hard, and that was fucking up things for you know. It was messing things up for you. That's how it felt to me anyway. You know, it's like you were so keen to impress, so keen to like complete everything.
Yes.
That was almost sabotaging you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, well, like, you look at that the beehive thing.
Yeah.
Like,
The beehive is
it was horrible.
Like,
I haven't been in a. I'm just letting you know, I have not been in the water since, and I don't plan to go in the water.
It's a confined space.
Yeah.
Very deep, like very
Literally.
deep, everyone thrown in together.
Just drown each other.
I've just got to.
Yeah, it's pretty much like, hey guys, go in there and just drown each other. Like that's literally like it was. No, like I'm seriously traumatized. I won't go in the water. Everyone's like, I can't go in the water. I can't even go in the water for recovery because I don't want to go in the fucking water ever again.
Right.
And yeah, it was bad. But because I did that, and then after that, we're still getting forced to go in the water when I was already traumatized from that. Anyways, that pissed me off. I was upset about that because I wanted to last the 2 minutes or however long it was, 5 minutes, whatever. And I couldn't because I'm not strong. I'm not a swimmer. I can't swim for shit. Like, do you know what I mean? But it bothered me that I couldn't do it, and I had to like get to the side because I'm like, oh, I'm fucking quitting. Like I should just drown. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, don't stop. Like, you know, but I couldn't make myself drown. But I was just upset about that because I was like, well, you know, and then and you're saying, well, you kept getting back in, and I know because I'm going to keep getting back in, but I want to last. I want to make it till the end, like everyone else. Like, I don't want to be having to pull whatever, like not finish it. So, and like when I look back on it realistically, I'm like, Ebony, like that's like silly, like in a way, you know, like you're not capable, like as in I can't fucking swim. My floaties they're not real floaties. That's for everyone. Like, you know what I mean? It is a misconception, you know, but, yeah. So, I mean, that, like, for example, that, you know, yeah, like, and that would kill me. It would eat me up inside. Like, you know, I'm like, I can't believe I didn't make it. Like, I didn't last the 2 minutes and 3 minutes, even though I can't swim. I can't believe I can't swim when you know, like, it was just, you knew that I couldn't swim. You're like, what the hell was wrong with you? And then,
It's a really good test. But I mean, you did amazing on the course.
Yeah.
You know, at the end, you got through to the final stages.
Yeah.
How many can you remember how many we were on when?
Yeah, well, I made it to the 11th day and it was 13 days.
Yeah.
So I think there was 7, but then like the other girls quit like straight away. So.
Yeah. No, you did outstanding. You were carrying injury as well.
Yeah.
You still got
your
injury there.
Exactly. I went into that with the broken hand, and
the leg.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I tore my plantar fascia.
They were holding you back.
Yeah.
Towards the end, I think that was part of our decision.
Yeah.
To actually,
I haven't watched it that thing because it got aired in Fight Week, so I haven't watched the culling and what you guys actually said. Not behind my back, but what you guys discussed.
You were there.
Yeah, exactly. I was there.
But another thing I want to discuss. So that's one thing. Which resonates with me is that self-doubt. Not self-doubt. People that try and instill self-doubt. You know, people that doubt you. I think when you look at a lot of sort of the media stuff.
Yep.
You know, there's always this air of she's you know. Her head's not really in the game.
Yeah.
She's here for the tits and ass and all that. And you know, it's all those people that doubted you.
Yeah.
I mean, this fight for you must have been loving that.
It's been very sweet. It was very it was a very sweet victory, if that's what you say.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've always been labelled as she's just a lingerie model. She just shows her boobs. She doesn't, you know, the only reason she's there is because she looks the way she looks and she has, you know, boobs and she wears the lingerie, you know, and they're just giving her everything, you know. But these are just people that these are people that are probably not successful, and they just want to blame it on something else other than hard work. They want to they want to say that I got there by luck or by my tits or by my looks or something that they don't have, that's easy, because then they don't feel so bad about not trying and not putting effort in and not doing the sacrifices and the hard work that I've had to do to get where I am. But yeah, I get judged a lot, obviously, because of my looks. So I don't look like the typical boxer, you know, and I am different, you know. I choose to be myself, and I choose to show my hard work in my body and be feminine and portray that. And I don't think there's a problem with mixing femininity with sport. It seems to be a problem. You're not allowed to be good at sport and be feminine. You have to be a butch and you have to be like a boy, because that's what, you know, athletes do. And I'm trying to break that stereotype, you know. And I think that the fight on the weekend showed the grafts I do. Not to mention, you know, like I've sacrificed my home. You know, I've moved countries. I've given up a lot of stuff at home to get where I am. Do you know what I mean? It is hard work. And I think showing it in that fight and winning properly against a real champion, you know, not some vacant title, not some champion that's just been a champion for one defence, you know, a proper longest reigning champion division. And I won decisively. One judge had me all rounds, but, you know, I think the 8 rounds to 2 was a good scorecard. So, yeah, I think for me it was a bit of a fuck you guys, like, you know, and that's what I said in my post-fight interview. I was like, can I fucking fight or what? You know, fuck you guys that think I can't fight, because I can fight. I didn't get here on tits and ass, you know what I mean? And just because I weigh in lingerie and just because I'm pretty or I'm feminine doesn't mean that I can't fight. Doesn't mean I don't take the sport seriously because I have a good body or because of the way I look or because I have a banter and a joke with people. It doesn't mean that I don't take the sport seriously. I take the sport very seriously. So I think I proved that as well. So yeah, that was good, you know, to show that. But yeah, no, people don't look at me and they don't think that I'd have degrees as well, you know what I mean, in maths. So I'm just always not trying to break stereotypes. I just happen to be breaking stereotypes. And what people don't realise, and this is coming to something you want to talk about, so what people don't realise is when I jump on those scales and I'm sitting there and I'm posing and I'm doing my front double bicep, I'm doing my little turns, and that's me from bodybuilding. I was a bodybuilder for 10 years. I was walking around on stage in a G-string, flexing and posing for 10 years of my life. And I was doing that at an Australian level, an international level. Do you know what I mean? So for me, the weigh-ins is like a little mini bodybuilding comp for me. I put a bit of they put me tan on, not as dark, obviously, but I'm ripped, I'm dehydrated, and I put my makeup on, I look pretty, and I go and show off all my muscles and all my hard work, you know what I mean, as aesthetically. And then on fight day, I show it off skillfully, you know what I mean?
That's your identity, isn't it?
Yeah, that's me. That's me. I'm not trying to be anyone else, you know what I mean? I'm not... this is what I love to do, you know what I mean? Like, I'm so comfortable with flexing in a G-string, you know, and showing off my body because that's what I did. And I really enjoy it, you know, and you can tell I enjoy it because you see me on the scales and I'm fucking got that stage presence, like, and I'm loving it, you know what I mean? And, you know, you see a few people following trend now. I've seen a lot of girls, not a lot, there's a few girls trying to do it, and that's cool. And I think it shouldn't be a problem that we want to be feminine and we want to put a bit of makeup on and look pretty when we're, you know, feeling like shit. But you know what I mean? Like, it's, I don't think there should be anything wrong with it.
No.
And it's just showing, and I know I've got a lot of new fans and a lot of fans into boxing that maybe not have been female boxing fans before because of it. It's opening doors to a different market. And realistically, women's boxing is a tiny little niche. You know what I mean? And I don't want to keep entertaining those. They're already fans. We need to get more fans in. Yeah. So the way to get more fans in is to be different, to show something different, show different fighting, show different personalities, show different looks. You know what I mean? And I think that's exactly what I've done. So
I think a lot of women, a lot of good-looking women get bullied.
Yeah, definitely.
And really, people are like, what? No. It's like, hey, man, I married a good-looking woman. You've married a good-looking woman, but I'm telling you that you're a good-looking woman. And I can just imagine people who bring you down because you don't look ugly and you're not fat, so they won't want to talk to you. That makes them feel nervous because they don't want to be around you. I've seen it.
Oh, yeah.
It's terrible.
It's the insecurity of them.
Yeah, it is, 100%. And you know what? It's like... There's no way you got there through hard work and skill. You must have fucked someone or sucked someone's dick because you're pretty.
Fuckers.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, you're pretty, so someone's fucked you to get you where you want. I'm like, no, because you know what? That's what people that aren't smart do. Because you know what I mean? Like, if you're smart, you know not to do that. Do you know? Right, it's got nothing to do with that. But that's the first thing they think. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you know, and I hate to say it, but like women that aren't as attractive or they're a bit more masculine, they'll never get judged or criticised or being told that they're sleeping with their coaches or they're sleeping with the promoter or whatever. They get there and, oh, well, they're so skilled. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But like it's if you have some kind of looks or you're attractive in some sense, even forget boxing, in the workforce. If you're a CEO or you've worked your way up in your business to become, you know, up high in a hierarchy of your business, and you're good looking, oh, she slept with someone. Yeah. She slept with someone to get there. Yeah. You know, she's definitely sleeping with the boss or the owner or whatever. I'm like, maybe she's just fucking smart. Yeah. Like, maybe she's good at her job. You know what I mean? It's got nothing to do with looks. Like, it's something that people don't realize, and people just think, oh, you're so blessed because you're so pretty and well, whatever. And I'm not trying to get tickets on myself here, and, you know, I'm not everyone's type. People are going to look at me and go, I hate her, she's ugly. But what I'm saying is that it's definitely a thing. You know what I mean? It's definitely a thing, and yeah, you get judged, man, and it's human nature to be judgmental. You see someone looks and you judge them, but I'm trying to break that, you know, and that's why I stand so strong in what I do, and I've never changed, and I push that message: be you, be real. If you know, because no matter who you are, you just be yourself, and people just got to accept it. I'm a school teacher. I see kids get bullied all the time. Yeah, do you know what I mean? And they're getting bullied, and they get bullied for little things like, you know, whatever, what they're wearing, their hair, you know, what they've said, you know, all these little things. And I try and tell these kids, don't listen to them. Just stay true to yourself. Don't worry about them, what they're saying, because it's their problem, though. They're picking on you. And it's the same as an adult. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And you need to have that, you need to build that resilience. You know, not to say that I don't, you know, give the bullies a word, but I think it's very important to also teach kids and younger people that they need to be resilient as well, and that they need to understand that these kind of things is not on them, and they shouldn't mold themselves to fit society and what people want, because no matter what, no matter who you are, no matter what you look like, no matter how smart, how skilled you are, you're always going to have someone that hates you and doesn't like you. That's just so. Why try and be someone else?
You can't change that.
No, so just be you. You know what I mean? You're going to have haters and lovers no matter who you are.
Exactly.
You could be Mother Teresa and someone's going to you can be Jesus and people aren't going to like you. You know what I mean?
No, but you've got a period of our lives where it's a bit confusing anyway. We've just come out of COVID. We've gone into another war over here, and we've also got people who are like, are you a man or are you a woman?
Yeah.
Or something in between. And it's like, well, look, I'm a man. Clearly you're a woman. And I have a woman I'm married to, and so do you. And we have children, so we're quite happy with who we are.
Yeah.
We have no problems.
But you be you.
But I'm being me, right? And you're being you, and we've got a lovely little thing going on in our family, and it looks like you've got a lovely little thing going on in your life. And I want to promote that. I love to see you being feminine. I love you. I love the fact that you were a bodybuilder. Yeah. And I have to say, when I saw you in the beginning, I was like, that's taking boxing to another level, seeing you come out in a weigh-in in your lingerie. I'm like, fuck. Hold on a minute. See if I can see a nipple, and that's what everybody's doing. Right? And the chick that was on the other day as well, she was out with her
nipples. You could actually see it. Yeah. You're like, that's an Ebony. Ebony started this.
And you didn't have your nipples out, right?
But she wasn't as confident. You know what I mean? You got to own that.
Your see-through underwear. I was like, is that a tattoo? Is that embroidery?
Yeah, I know. Everyone.
Is that embroidery?
Yeah, I know.
I was like, it's fucking embroidery. It's not a tattoo, right?
Yeah,
But there you go. So if
Shout
I'm
out
doing
to
that,
Conley.
and he's talking about the whole of fucking the world was talking about, right? So that's brilliant, because you've brought something beautiful, your body, you've brought something beautiful, that lingerie, and you brought it to that arena where everyone's watching for the wrong reason, right?
But they're still watching.
For a different reason, right? Well, did you make the weight?
What was her weight?
Don't take your wife to one of Ebony Bridges' shows, because you know for a fact you're going to be perfect.
But you know, to be fair, I don't think anyone's even watching me anymore. Everyone's just looking at Eddie Hearn and how he reacts.
See his reaction.
I'm like,
I can tell you from my perspective, I'm not watching Eddie Hearn until the videos afterwards.
Yeah.
It's like,
I tried to give Eddie some sunglasses. He didn't want to put them on.
But that's this great point, right? Even for us all who are quite well trained, we've been around beautiful women all our life, and I've been 10 years in Thailand on the beach for 10. I said to my wife right in the very beginning of that, one thing we can't do is be jealous.
Yeah, of course.
Because
100%.
if you think I'm not going to be checking out that ass, that chest, I'm going to be doing it. I'm here.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, I'll get my own fucking eyes.
Doesn't matter where you get your appetite from.
She's got her eyes on other things as well, but you can't be jealous.
That's a good point to make, though, because there's a lot of people out there that think they get into a relationship and you're not going to find looking at someone else and appreciate the fact they're attractive, which is the biggest load of bullshit ever. Just because you like you appreciate, and I see, I've got a wife and stuff, you know what I mean? But I see a guy with a decent, I'm like, fuck.
Well done, mate. Well done.
I mean?
Especially
you just appreciate, beauty.
That. Yeah, exactly. And
we're in the gyms all our life, right? Certainly I'm in the boxing gym all my life, and there are a lot of fat boxers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of skinny boxers, but there's this bundle of other boxers who've got great bodies, and you can't help but go, you look great, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And you see a fat guy coming in and he goes for about 3-month training camp and he comes out, and the next time you see him, you're like, fucking hell, you look great, mate. He might not be as ripped as old Jimmy over there, but he's looking good.
Yeah, of course.
So we're around complimenting people with bodies.
Exactly.
Of course, there's women in the gyms now as well, right? So it's like boxing gyms. I mean, we compliment everyone. So it's easy to compliment someone's great body when you come from this environment.
Yeah.
But can you imagine being in a relationship where you're like, fucking hell, she's all right, and you... Your wife gives you a clout around the ear. Yeah. It's the wrong attitude.
100%. I agree, but that all just comes down to insecurity. Yeah, if you're secure in yourself, you're secure in your relationship, then you don't have that, you know what I mean?
That's right.
And you just got to feel sorry for these people, to be honest. Just like the same people that troll and talk shit, like, you know what I mean?
Listen to that. If you're one of those people, man, you need to pull your head in and stop being jealous. You've been warned.
I've got a question for you. I don't want to forget this. I know, obviously, doing your weighing and stuff, there's a lot of pressure on to get to a certain weight, get to weight. Do Do you ever stand on them scales or the lead up to it and go, I wish I'd got a smaller size?
Yeah, it's funny you asked me that. No, never, because they're a fucking asset. I've made more money from them, mate. I'll go tell you what, they're the biggest asset I've got because it's the one thing I bring that the others don't. I've got a big pair of bolt-ons, and because all these other girls, they can wear the lingerie and it can be the underwear, but they don't have the big boobs like Ebony Bridges, and it does suck a little bit because it is probably about just over a kilo of extra weight, which is over 2 pounds on the scales, but. I'm as strong as an ox, and it's just an asset to me.
So there's a question right at you there, right? Okay, I've never had bolt-ons until I got to Australia.
Bolt-ons,
so if you're listening, you're not from Australia, and you hear bolt-ons, that you bolt them on. That's what it comes from, right? But the bolt-on things, you got to think to myself, when I do. Like, surely, does that...
Get in the way. I know.
Not get in the way, but, I don't know the science of bolt-ons.
I know, does it hurt?
When someone fucking punches you, is there a danger that it can explode? I mean,
no, maybe there might be a bit of danger to that, but I'm not sure, to be fair. I don't get hit much there. I get hit in the head, in the body, but not many people get hit in the chest. And to be honest, when your guard's up, your chest is covered. When your guard's down, your chest is covered. It's very rare. And if I do, I don't feel it because I get punched in the head for a living. And the kidneys. So, it's never an issue. But it is probably the number one question I get asked is, does it hurt when you get hit in the chest? And do they get in the way?
I don't care about hurt. I'm a boxer. I love getting punched in the head. It's an addiction of mine, and I'm glad you said that because if you're a young boxer out there and you're not enjoying getting punched in the head, just keep on going. You'll soon like it. It's something that comes part of your nature. But I have noticed that you have an amazing punch resistance. Yeah. You've taken some punishment in the last fight. And
oh, Jesus, calm down. Fucking don't get hit that bad.
No.
These girls don't hit hard.
No, I don't.
The girls don't hit hard. That's the difference. They're no blonde bomber.
I'm 50 and I've been in boxing since I was 11 years old, so I've seen a lot of people getting bashed in the head and taking a lot of good punches. I've seen you taking a few good punches and you roll off it, so you've got a great punch resistance. That's a compliment. Not
like Jesus. But, like my face isn't that bad, is it?
Look, you're all right as the time goes. Maybe you're broken. But my point here is you have great punch resistance. Is there anything you do in your training to sort of get your mindset in that a place where it looks like punches?
Look, to be honest, it's a bit of a combination of quite a few things. Women at 118 pound don't really hit that hard. You know what I mean? Except me. That's why they all run from me. And I think that was Roman's plan, was to try and smother my power. That's why she was trying to sit on my chest. Honestly, and being a bodybuilder for so long, I have a very strong my neck's strong. Do a lot of network neck and traps. I think it's really important to have a strong neck and a strong traps because that helps with punch resistance. You can see the girls that don't have strong necks and punches, strong necks and traps, and their heads just snap back and they just look like Pez dispensers. You know what I mean? So I think that's definitely something. But some people are just chinny. Some people are not. Look at the Mexicans. They don't even have a fucking defense half the time. And they can take the punches. The Argentinians the same. So it's just, I think it's a bit of everything, really. Yeah.
Good answer. So if you are out there, all boxers out there, get your neck.
Just go out there and just like punch.
Don't forget your neck and trap exercises. That's your trap.
I used to headbutt the wall constantly. I'm joking.
I'll be banging my head. I was boxing since I was 11 years old, so there was periods in my life when I was a young kid. I'd be like that. Everyone thought it was crazy. And I was just like trying to build up muscles and my calluses on my wee buttons along here. So
well, listen, I think look, we could talk to you all night, and I'm conscious you've got to get off to Leeds as well. So I think unless we've got any points, we'll sort of wrap this up.
We'll wrap it up. But before we go, I know you've done a lot of work on nutrition, and this is break point, and we're all about fitness and health and things like that.
Sorry, could we? Oh, sorry. Before we do that, could we just ask one question, because this is important for? We just need to ask you. It's like the whole ethos of Breakpoint is that short-term discomfort for long-term gain. That is the reason we created this academy. So you can relate to that.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you got one point in your life, and that it can be a simple thing, it can be something that's major, but that time where you've been in that pressured situation that wants to send you back into the repeat habit loop of what you've always done. You've had to push through and just and really engage that discomfort. Is there any particular moment?
You've done it a lot, haven't you?
So much.
Every training camp as well.
Yeah. To be fair, I mean, if you're looking at the physical side, I mean, I have this mindset, especially, and you can, like Mark Tibbs has talked about it, where when there's something that I'm doing and I hate it and I don't want to do it, I punish myself and I make myself do it, and I'll do more of it for example, doing 800-meter sprints, and I hate. I've never done them before, and they were horrible. Hate it. I'm like, why am I doing this shit? And and he's like, how you going? I'm like, I hate this shit. I'm like, why am I doing? I'm a boxer. Why I have to run this shit? And he's like, it's good for you. And I'm just like, no. And then because I was so angry, because I didn't want to do it so much, I was like, fuck it. And he goes, do you want to finish there? And I'm like, no, I'll just do it. Fuck it, do another 2. Fuck it, punish myself because I don't want to do it. This kind of mindset where I'll be like, I'll be sparring and I'll be like 10 rounds and he'll like, oh, do you want to stop? And I'm like, yeah, I want to fucking stop. But then I'm like, okay, now you got to do another round because you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I punish myself for not wanting to do something. I always do it. As soon as I tell myself, like being a pussy, if I'm going to be a pussy, and as soon as I tell myself, oh, no, I don't want to do it, or like this is whatever, then I'm like, now you got to do it.
Yeah.
Now you got to do it.
And that is brilliant. That is exactly what Breakpoint is. And that's what we really want to get across to people that watch, listening to this podcast, and anyone that comes through this door, is the fact that you have to contradict. As soon as you hear that, that negativity, bang, you hit it.
Oh, it's 100%. Like honest, like no word of a lie. Like as soon as I say, for example, Mike will be like, okay, like he sometimes ask me, do you want to do this? Like, oh, do you want to just finish off with doing some, like burpees or whatever? No, I fucking don't. No, but
I'll do it
because I don't want to do it. I'm gonna do it now. You know what I mean? Like it's. I really don't want to do it. So then I'm like, now I've got to do it. Yeah. Now I've got to punish myself. It's like I'm punishing myself because I told myself that I don't want to do it, or like I just, it's such a. It's when I say it out loud, it's so weird because it is. It's I look at it as like punishing myself for not wanting to do something that I need to do. If that makes sense.
No,
so like if for example, I have to do 10 burpees, and then I get to like 8 and I'm like, I'm done. Like, I don't do this. And then I'll say to myself, no, you got to do fucking 10. So then I'll do 12. Because I'm like, you know what I mean?
Do 2 more for being a pussy.
I have to do it for being a pussy. No, exactly. No, honestly, I will do it. I will do it. And it's the same. But it's that mindset that I built up that in a fight, if I get in the 6th round of a championship fight, 6th round, I'm tired. Like, fuck, well, you know what? You got another fucking 3 rounds and you better fucking pick it up. Yeah. And then that's what happens. And those last few rounds, that's when I pick it up because I'm like, oh, you can't fucking be a pussy. Like, go out there and work harder. Do you know what I mean? And like I said, I fought with a snapped ankle. I snapped my ankle in my first fight in the first 10 seconds. I didn't even know. Like, I got dropped and it was a flash knockdown and I snapped my ankle. Then I got up and I was like, why is he counting me? I'm like, I didn't even get hit because I didn't know because I just blacked out. And then I was like, oh, fuck, went to walk on my foot and it was, I snapped my syndesmosis and I had to have 2 surgeries. I was out for 8 months, but I finished a fight. I did another, did the next 3 rounds with a snapped ankle. I went back to the corner after that round and before I even sat down, I said, I think I broke my ankle. And my coach was like, what do you want to do? I'm like, well, fucking, I'm not quitting. Like, I've got to like show who's boss. And I went out there and like just blitzed it just to kind of get my mind off my ankle. But it just shows that kind of blockage that you can't, it's in your head. You know what I mean? Pain, you can push through pain. It's just, you can push through anything, you know what I mean? Like, you can, and that's one thing I know that one of my strengths is literally pushing through pain, and it's because of that training that I do, or I don't want to do it, or when it gets hard, when something gets hard, I fucking force myself to push through it because that's what builds you. It's forcing yourself through the hardest parts, even in your life. Forcing through, like I said, my university, like when I wanted to quit so many times, but I forced through it and look what happened in the end, I graduated with Dean's Merits, or, my bodybuilding, like, man, like, don't even get me started on that. Like, it's just everything comes from being pushed past your breaking point.
That's the point. That's the whole point.
Yeah, I got it. That was like an epiphany. Wait a second. I get it.
The point where you break, the breaking point.
You're onto something.
This is what this is all about, right? So this whole business, this whole podcast that we're putting together now is about. We're really into like, what is the point that you broke, and when you broke, when you realize you broke. At what point you start to get stronger again?
Yeah.
And that's what this is all about. We want to.
And it's never ending.
Look, honestly, there's so many different questions of so many different people you could ask about how hard their fucking life was.
Yeah.
That's not the important thing.
Yeah.
It's when did you realize? Okay, we're at the point where we realize we're broke.
Yeah.
How do we build back?
Yeah.
You've answered that a million times today. It's
not
exactly what. But what I wanted to finish on was, look. I know you know the body inside out because of your bodybuilding in every muscle group. I've seen you. I've done my research. So you've got an amazing physique, and that doesn't come easy.
No,
that's not like some people in the world that just born with that, right?
Definitely
but you're not. You need to work that, right?
Yeah.
And so kudos, and I think it's amazing. But you also know a lot about nutrition, right? Because you can't get that strong, that perfect body unless you've went into sort of some sort of understanding of nutrition. And I'm really conscious that people who are watching tonight or today, they don't have this knowledge I have in nutrition or not Ollie has in nutrition. So we'll be doing different podcasts and different lessons on that at one point. But I want to ask you, a woman who can come in at championship level, making sure she's on point with the weight, rehydrate within 24 hours and still perform peak performance. That was a peak performance from you on the weekend. Could you give us some tips on how to have a decent or a stable nutritional plan that is going to help in this current day and age? You've lived in Britain now for a wee while, so you understand the supermarkets and everything else. For the people who are in the boxing gyms, they're not the richest people in the world. They want to eat well. There must be a wee bit of advice you could leave us with in regards to nutrition.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think for me, especially the key is discipline. Which obviously I got from years of bodybuilding. But I disconnected the relationship of food and pleasure a long time ago.
Me too.
So I don't eat for pleasure. I purely eat for fuel.
Yeah.
I don't eat for pleasure. And very rarely when I'm out of camp, I will sometimes, but I'm still very conscious of what I'm eating outside of camp because I just don't have that relationship with food and pleasure. And I think you need to do that, especially when you're an athlete and you're a high level, because you're not eating for pleasure. You're eating to fuel your body.
Yeah.
You don't have a Ferrari and then go give it some E10 shitty fuel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You give it premium, the best. You don't give it shitty oil. You give it the best oil. How can you expect a sports car or a high-level athlete to run on shit fuel?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So when you're eating, you got to think, is this good for me? Is this going to fuel me? Or what am I eating this for? As an athlete, especially a boxer, we train so much. So you need to give yourself carbs. The biggest mistake that especially young people and people that don't really know and old school people is they cut carbs out of their diet because they think carbs are bad because of this society believing that carbs are bad. Do you know what I mean? You're a fucking athlete, man. You're training like 4 hours a day sometimes, you need to fuel your body.
Yeah.
But in saying that, it's not like go eat fucking lollies and chocolates and cake and shit like that. You got to think what carbs you're eating. So you got to have wholesome, good carbs. You got to have like low GI or slow release carbs throughout your day, and then you time your sugars like your good fruits. Higher carbs like honeys and jams around your training because you need to fuel that. And if you're eating clean, healthy meals like good carbs, and you're eating good source of protein which you need as well. And obviously your vegetables and stuff like that, then you should be able to feel great and you should be able to perform great and you should keep the weight off. But if you're eating all that and then you go on fucking snacking on Snickers and then like eating some whatever Jaffas or whatever, that shit that you got here, and then you go and have your meals and then you go and have some ice cream or you go out for dinner and you go all this kind of stuff and you just eat all this stuff that, like pizzas and that. It's not what it is. It's about, you know what I mean? You need to eat clean. You got to think what's going in your body is going to fuel you. And all that stuff doesn't fuel you.
I think it's really important. You nailed it, right? That's what I say, isn't it? You eat for fuel, right?
Yeah,
it's
fuel.
my mentality. I don't know, maybe I got that when I was living in Australia. I know you were with the Australian Institute of Sport, right? You were with them when you were in the Australian team. And I took a few guys on board from there, and they had a kind of similar mindset when it came to nutrition. They didn't hold too much fat. It was like the Australian Institute of Sport seemed to have a little bit more knowledge to pass on to their guys that I'm understanding what you're saying. Eating for fuel, it's hard for people to get their head around because they don't realise the nutritional value of some proteins or the nutritional value of like you mentioned, like carrots or high in sugar. It's like, what? You get energy from carrots, but not just the normal. You get a sugar boost from it. But you don't really understand that until maybe you've detoxed all the poisons out your body. And then you can come back in and then you're like, I think the energy from the food.
I feel like the biggest mistake a lot of young boxers or a lot of boxers, I mean, not even young, sometimes very experienced, and because they come from an old school gym with the old school mentality of just starve yourself and then cut 10 kilos in the fight week. I think that the mentality is...
When I was younger,
that's the way, I think that's a bad mentality. The problem is if you're going into a camp and you got an 8-week camp and you're cutting carbs from day one, mate, you got nothing. What do you cut in a week? Like, I eat so much food, so then when it comes to fight week, I have so much room to move.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you need to keep your calories high to fuel your training, your workouts, so you can actually perform in training as well.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to fight week, you have so much room to move because you've been eating healthy and well, but there's still room to move. If you've cut everything out, what are you going to do? Like, literally, that's what they do. They starve themselves for a week, start dehydrating 3 days out. Like, oh my God. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, yeah. It's just understanding. Obviously, I have a lot of understanding, but yeah, I think the biggest mistake that people make is they don't eat enough. Especially as an athlete, you gotta look how much you're training, man. Like, you need to fuel that. Like, you're training so much. You know what I mean?
When you had your injuries, and just, I know we'll get to the end of this podcast, but I've still got a few questions athletically. When you got to your injuries in your last training camps, how was your nutrition plan? How was your training? Because you mentioned overtraining before.
Yeah.
Was it possibly overtraining physically, or could it have been to do with nutritional intake? And
No,
all
my
that
nutritional intakes. No, my
never stayed the same.
Yeah, it's overtraining.
Changing trainers, do you think? Was that?
No, it's just me. I'm just fucking.
Just went too hard.
Yeah.
Couldn't pull back.
I just got to do more and more and more and more.
The extra 2 burpees every time.
Yeah,
just kept
exactly. 100%. No, 100%. That's what it was. I'd be like, my trainer had to be like, you need to go. Leave the gym. I'm like, no, can I just do another 30 minutes? Can I just do another 2 rounds in a speedball? No, you've done enough. Like, you know, no, like, I'll be sparring. I'm like, can I do 2 more rounds? No. And that's what I liked about Mark Tibbs. He would literally say no, and he wouldn't let me do it. I've had some other trainers that go, okay. And they just let me kind of keep going, because I'm obsessive. Do you know what I mean? I'll stay in the gym for 4 hours straight and do drills. I'll do 2 hours of the same drill, over and over again, because I'm obsessive, and I like repetition, and I like that. You know, where I need someone to go, no, you've done enough, mate. Like, you know, that's why in this last camp, it was hard. I'm like, I better fucking win, because I fucking haven't done shit this camp. Like, to me,
it felt like I hadn't
done
enough.
He's like, have a day off. You need to have another day off. Like, I was only boxing like 4 days, 5 days a week. Like, I'm boxing like usually every day. Plus, I'm doing 3 sessions a day and running every day. And I'm doing this like it was just, you know what I mean? So yeah, it worked, and here we are, I'm a world champion. So it's great.
And I think that's great to hear.
Yeah.
It's great to hear you found that discipline, because overtraining is a big problem in the gyms. Overtraining is a massive problem in life, because people just think they have to put so much in. But rest and recovery is as important as the training itself. And I think a lot of people out there need to understand that is the case. We can't just keep on running up hills and then get to the top of the Everest. We've got to take a long time to rest. Well, Ollie, shall I hand it over to you to close it down?
Yeah, I think we just about covered on all the questions.
Yep.
I think it's been a great interview.
Great.
I could keep on talking all day. But,
me too.
We're going to do part 2.
We'll do
Well, that'll be good. You know, we could do a part 2 and we can talk about.
Yeah,
we're happy. You're the first one. You were number 1 in SAS Australia, and now you're number 1 in Breakpoint's podcast. So you are number 1.
Hey,
and you are actually.
I feel sorry for anyone that has to come on after me, because I'm a hard actor. I'm a fucking number, you know, hard act to follow this one.
It's true, but we've got a world champion to kick off our first podcast.
Well, it was my pleasure, boys. Honestly, my pleasure. Obviously, it was lovely to meet you, and Ollie, you know, a lot of respect for you and a lot of love for you. So I appreciate you. So so it was really, you know, my pleasure to come down here.
Yeah. Awesome. And if there's anything we can ever do anytime, just let us know,
cool.
And we'll get right to it.
Yeah, just to finish off, I just want to say, you know, it's been amazing. Met you. What year? What was it last year?
September, October.
October last year, and I never really expected to be sat here today.
Yeah.
Speaking to a world champion.
Yeah, unreal.
And I tell you what, when I saw that fight, and I snapshotted your face, right?
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
when the result.
Yeah.
And when you put the emotion on your face.
Yeah, I was going to cry for it.
And I was like, because I knew what it meant to you.
Yeah.
And I took a picture of that. I think I was going to send it to you and say, that is what it's all about.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I was we're so proud of you for what you've done. And, you know, inspiration-wise, you know, it's non-gender specific when it comes to inspiration. You're an inspiration to everyone, not just to women.
Women, of course.
But, you know, there's that, of course, because a lot of people, you know, a lot of women sit there and don't think they can achieve much when it comes to the physical stuff. What's next for EB? What's next for the Blonde Bomber?
What's next for the Blonde Bomber? Yeah, look, you know what? We're looking to obviously fight again in the summer, hopefully. God willing, my hand heals fast. And I will be looking to unify, which means collecting another belt off another champion. That is my plan for hopefully this year or early next year. But the world is my oyster, and anything is absolutely possible, and I totally believe that I can literally do anything I want to do. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the next part of my life and for whatever I'm going to achieve.
And will you do that here in the UK?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, probably.
We've got you. We can hold on to you for a while and say
Yeah.
Ebony Bridges belongs to us
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah.
We'll give you back later on, Australia. Just you hold on a minute while we fill our eyes full of the beauty and talent and brawl.
Yeah,
Because you
that's
are
it.
one of the
Yeah.
toughest boxers I've ever seen.
Thank
You're like
you.
a Joe Fraser of the women.
Yeah.
With the looks of Muhammad Ali. You know,
I
stuff
love
like
that. Yeah, that's it.
You know, but
Look,
Thank you.
we'd love to have you down here
Yep.
at some point, you know, just for a bit of a training day.
Yeah, cool.
it'd be good to train.
Yeah.
Maybe get. I know you love helping kids, and I love
Yep.
helping kids, not just kids but adults too.
Of course, yeah.
It'd be great if we can come down here and talk about a bit of boxing, a bit
Yeah,
of
for
fitness,
sure.
nutrition. We just touched
Yeah, for
on today.
sure.
That'd be great to get
Yep.
you down here and do something together.
Yeah.
On an event, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's think about that.
Well, it's something
Yeah.
to think about. But our mission here at Breakpoint is to make sure that the whole of the UK, the whole of the world, gets a wee bit of inspiration from good
Yep.
people, and we have to learn that there's a battle going on all the time
Yep.
in the world, and we need to be fit enough for it, mentally and physically.
Yep.
And
nothing-
as you are.
Nothing worthwhile is easy in life. You know what I mean?
That's
You always
right.
got to go through speed humps and go through those points. You know what I mean? To get to the other side.
Nothing. It's my fucking quote. I can't even remember it. Nothing was ever great unless at some point you doubted your ability to achieve it.
That's great. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, and
That's it.
that's already.
Brilliant. Thanks,
Battle,
guys.
you got to be battle ready, and you are battle ready. You are the epitome of strength. Ebony Bridges, thank you very
Thank you.
much,
Thanks,
and
boys.
congratulations again on being a
Appreciate
world
it.
champion.
Yes. Thank you.